What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only SPY, the Nasdaq, the QQQs, and the indices. Break down just a couple of stocks out there that will affect how the whole market will move, and talk about like Meta and a couple of others, and talk about why on earth tomorrow is going to be a big day for the markets, and we should be expecting a huge move because of the FOMC minutes and many other factors like that. Before I break anything down about why this is going to be so significant, how this could affect the markets, and what's going on with the whole Biden-McCarthy deal right now, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000, and any could be a free Tesla share. The offer ends very, very soon, so check it out before they run out in just 8 days. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at the stock market, we did get a bit of a pullback, and I was telling you guys that this was very possible yesterday. I was talking about how SPY can make its way down to 415 if we failed at 417, and the market got a bit of a pullback, but the question now is, how is the market going to respond? Now, what I find very interesting about this is we were getting lots of negative news over the weekend, and then the market actually held up yesterday, and the market's finally starting to react to a lot of that negative news today. Now, what happened that was kind of negative? The first thing is the market's becoming a little bit more concerned as yields are starting to rise more because of what Janet Yellen said yesterday. Janet Yellen was saying that, uh, you know, if they don't complete this debt ceiling by June 1st, she may not be able to meet her obligations. The US Treasury won't be able to, and the US is going to face a very severe recession. She said that people are going to continue to lose their jobs, and that if they continue to perform this way, this could lead to more and more pain for the financial systems going forward. Yellen, alongside others, warned us that the stock market could crash 45% if we get a default. It's going to be one of the first times, if not the first time in history. This never happened in history, so I find it very unlikely that that's going to happen. And I believe McCarthy and Biden will negotiate and find a solution. They have to, they don't really have a choice. For the sake of people with Social Security, for the sake of the country as a whole, something has to be done. Now, now let's talk about what just happened between Biden and McCarthy. McCarthy said that some progress has been made, but they still have to negotiate a lot of things about spending. And Biden said that, and this is what the White House just reported, that together they're open for a bipartisan agreement. So that's some good news. As the market sells off right now amidst the fear about the debt ceiling or even a default, uh, they could get surprised, right? A lot of these stocks could get a big surprise if the market gets a big rally. And if, I'm sorry, they could get a surprise if the debt ceiling deal is done. And it's still very possible. Now, to add on to that, we have NVIDIA earnings, Kohl's, Analog, and many others. Not to mention, for Thursday, we have Best Buy and Costco and Dollar Tree. Then for Friday, we have Big Lots reporting earnings as well. NVIDIA is going to be the biggest one, so make sure you're ready for that. To add on to that, we have some crude oil data in the FOMC minutes coming out tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And that's basically when the Fed is going to tell us a lot of things about what was discussed at the FOMC meeting, some more insights about Fed speakers and what they expect, and why on earth they may remain more hawkish or not, and will if they raise rates or not going forward. So those are all some very important things to remember. Now I'm going to just talk about the charts from here, just very briefly. Uh, Looking at the charts, I mean, things are still looking okay. We're not really crashing too hard just yet, and we are going to try to bounce very soon, most likely. But we are going to likely see more downside going forward. To start us off for SPY, I mean, we're likely going to make our way up to 412 all the way down here, then try to bounce from there. And then after we get a bounce off that 412 to 410 zone, we're likely going to see the market react to the FOMC minutes. If the minutes cause a bullish move, we're going to see this thing fly to 417. If we get a bearish move, SPY is going to make its way down to 409, if not lower. This will depend heavily on what's reported during the minutes, and the minutes are going to be huge for the market as well. Now, that's just a very brief summary. I'm going to try to keep this video very brief. For Tesla, if we're bullish, Tesla's going to try to push up. Well, first off, Tesla's going to make its way down to maybe 183 since it is looking kind of bearish right now. And it's going to try to bounce between this 183 to 180 zone. I'm anticipating maybe around 183. And then it's going to make its way back to 185 probably. Then it's going to react to the FOMC minutes. If we're bullish, it's going to hit 190. If it's bearish, it's going to come even lower back to 180, which is where we have this imbalance. Now, let me just add that at any given moment, on top of all of this news, if there's a deal that's closed, the market could still make a big push to the upside, and we're just waiting for it. Politics is getting in the way, but just be open-minded nonetheless. The QQQ is pretty flat. If we're bullish, it's going to make its way up to 340, all the way up there if we get a huge deal closed. If not, it could just remain in this zone. So what I'm seeing is this thing will most likely come all the way back down to the lower like 330s, then try to bounce off that. We're going to make our way back up to the mid 330s after that, 335 to 334. And then we're going to react to the big news. If we get a good piece of news, if the FOMC minutes are not showing as many hawkish Fed officials, the QQQ can make its way up to about 337 to 335 plus at the very least. If not, we're going to get a rug pull and we're going to make our way back down to 330. The HYG is being bought up at a higher rate, which is a good piece of news, and that tends to be more bullish, at least for now, because smart money or these institutions are anticipating the market to make a better move, the market to start improving once the deal is done. As far as NEO goes, it has a big event tomorrow. If it's bullish, it's gonna try to fill this gap all the way up into like the $9 zone. I don't really see that happening though. I think it's going to get stopped out early, and it's going to be more of a buy the rumor, sell the news event where NEO does start downtrending after that. What I'm thinking is it's gonna start downtrending, retest 8.6, continue to drop a little bit, then try to balance and react to the FOMC minutes. For the Nasdaq, it's very close to 12,500. It's very close to this gap fill down here. It's going to likely do that before trying to bounce, but we'll have to just wait and see how it moves from there, depending on the FOMC minutes. First, it's going to come down, then it's going to bounce, and then we're going to react to the minutes. So be open-minded from there. SPX is basically the same thing. It's going to likely retest the 200 EMA on the 1 hour time frame from this 4,127 area, and then try to bounce from there. The VIX has a gap below as it's up and breaking out quite nicely, but momentum is starting to slow down on the 1 hour time frame. Same thing on the 30-minute time frame. It's slowing down on momentum, so it might cool off a little bit. Could push up a little bit as the market drops, then start to cool off and retest this breakout zone. That's going to be around this like 18 level, if not a little bit lower. Make its way back down to maybe like the 200 as the market tries to bounce, then continue from there. As far as the dollar index goes, it's breaking out above 103. If it continues to break out higher, it's going to become much more bearish for the markets. For now, it's holding up, but it's starting to just trade sideways. It's been stuck in the 103s for quite a while. For Coinbase, if we're bullish, it's going to make its way up to the 160, but I'm not seeing that quite yet. It looks more like it's going to come back down to this like 58 area, and then maybe a little bit lower before it tries to get a bounce finally. It looks like it needs more time to do so nonetheless. Aapl looks like it's going to retest 170 and then try to bounce. This looks like a very bearish trend. And if anything, it got a very bearish crossover on the PPO on the 30-minute and 1 hour time frames. It's going to make its way closer to 170, then try to bounce after that. But that's what I'm seeing. After it bounces, it could try to get back closer to where the 50 is. But first, it has to break 172.5. NVIDIA is likely going to trade sideways and then react to earnings. It's just kind of sandwiched between the 15 to 200 EMAs for now. It's going to likely cool off to about 305, maybe a little bit lower, and then try to bounce. Then after that, it's going to react to the FOMC minutes. I don't know how that's going to cause the market to move. If it's a bullish move, we're going to see 309 plus. If it's bearish, we're going to make our way down to 300. And then it's going to react to earnings after that. Be careful with those option premiums. We tend to see IV crush after earnings. Google, it's going to likely try to get a crossover here, come down to about the 200, then try to bounce afterwards, and then react to the FOMC minutes. So after it bounces off this 122 level, it might just trade sideways, then react to what on earth is announced. As far as Amazon goes, we're close to about 114.99 as of right now. If we end up coming down, we could retest this 200 EMA. If anything, Amazon might try to hold this 113.79 area. It's looking like it's trying to base around here, forming kind of like a double bottom, but for now, it looks to me like it's going to cool off a little bit more, retest that, and then try to base and react to the FOMC minutes. Meta looks like it's going to retest this like 240 area. This is where we have this imbalance, and it's also very close to where the 200 happens to be, 244 to then 240. So watch those supports very carefully, but it should bounce either there or at the lower end, and then it's going to react to the FOMC minutes. I can't predict that, so just be calm, cool, and collected. Now, let me just note that yes, the market could drop a little bit more tomorrow, but it could always bounce if Biden and McCarthy close the deal. And if they do close the deal, I'm expecting a very big bounce. That's going to be very, very huge temporarily. However, that's for like the more short term for the next week or two, right? We drop a little bit more, then we get a nice bounce thanks to Biden and McCarthy later on. That's very possible. But for the medium term, we are still forming a bearish divergence on SPY, and I am anticipating some downside around the June period. Sometime in June, there's likely going to be a big pullback, a big downtrend, and I see the same thing on the QQQ, so I still hold the medium term bearish stance. But for the short term, yes, we could also drop a little bit, but we could always bounce if Biden announces the deal. And I think the odds favor Biden and McCarthy coming to a consensus over the next week. They don't really have a choice if you think about it. So anyways, guys, that's what I have for this video. I give you guys a more medium term prediction and also what I see happening for tomorrow. Get ready for the FOMC minutes. They're going to be huge. And get ready at specifically, once again, it's at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you are ready. I have some merch for you guys if you're interested in buying anything from a tank top to a hoodie or anything like that that says buy the dipper to the moon. And don't forget about the Weeble link. The offer ends very soon. Deposit any amount of money and you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks worth up to $3,000 each. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. The market to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright. And peace out.